Most motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing.
If there is someone who knew boxing, it was Roger Mayweather. Today, we're going to share that knowledge with you by explaining his philosophy of training, and most importantly, by breaking down his key fundamentals and how he instilled them in Floyd Mayweather Jr. to make him one of the best boxers in history. Considered by many to be one of the greatest trainers ever, Roger had a unique way of coaching, and while he mainly trained one boxer, his unorthodox methods proved incredibly successful. In this video, we will break down his unique Padwork system, so you finally understand how it works step by step. And if you want to put it into practice yourself, we've also included a simplified version based on Roger Mayweather's Padwork system, so even beginners can start building those long combinations from scratch. But before we understand the philosophy, we first need to understand the man behind it. History. Roger Mayweather was born in 1961 in Grand Rapids in the Midwest. In fact, Roger would always proudly brag about how the best fighters came from the Midwest.
You start talking about where the greatest fighters come from, the greatest fighters come from where I come from. The Midwest. That's where your greatest fighters come from. That's where James Toney come from. That's where Ray Robinson come from. That's where Joe Louis come from. All them guys come from the Midwest.
Before becoming a trainer, Roger was a well-known boxer himself. He was a two-division world champion, winning titles at super featherweight and junior welterweight while earning 59 wins across a nearly 20-year career. As a boxer, Roger was ruthless and offensively minded, never afraid to exchange and always looking for the knockout. As a matter of fact, he even fought future trainers like Freddie Roach, giving us one of the greatest coach rivalries in boxing history.
Freddie Roach ain't doing shit, he can't fight himself. I know that. I used to whoop his ass.
But that was a fucking long time ago. I said we've came a long way since then. There'll be some bad exchanges because if he says something bad, I'm not gonna fucking I won't just take it.
However, as we will see, when it came to his philosophy as a trainer, he had a much more calculated and victory-focused approach.
And that's part of boxing. Boxing, you find a way to win.
But as he approached the later stages of his career, he started training his nephew, Floyd Mayweather Jr. We want to make it clear that Floyd Mayweather Sr. also had a major influence on Floyd Jr.'s style, especially later in his career. But in this video, we'll focus on Roger, as he was the lead trainer during most of Floyd's developmental years. Roger trained Floyd from a very young age, as he always had a passion for coaching kids.
How old was he, do you think? Was he in his teen? Yeah.
I was about 9, 10, 11 years old.
However, he officially took over as lead trainer from the start of Floyd's professional career. With Floyd Sr. incarcerated and later having differences with Floyd Jr., Roger remained Floyd's head trainer through almost 15 years of his professional career. His own experience as a fighter, going against some of the greatest boxers in history, gave him a unique understanding of the small details and tricks needed in professional boxing. Knowledge he later passed on to Floyd Jr., and today to you. Philosophy. Roger's main approach as a coach was simple: get the win by any means necessary. A perfect example of this is the fight against Victor Ortiz. Leading up to the fight, Roger made it clear that winning was the only thing that mattered, and that hypotheticals meant nothing if you didn't get the victory.
So when Victor Ortiz get his ass whooped, he gonna say the same thing all the rest of them say. Oh, I coulda, I shoulda, I woulda, but you didn't. That's the whole thing.
We could see this exact same mindset transmitted to Floyd in the build-up to the fight.
I always find a way to get the job done. If you make any mistakes, you have to pay. You make any mistakes, you have to pay.
And when the fight came, Floyd found a way to win. while Ortiz was left talking about what he could have, or would have, or should have done.
And then out of nowhere, he throws that elbow, boom, and I just remember it felt like he ripped my retina, like tore my retina. Cortez came back and counted very fast, and it's probably the fastest anybody's ever counted on my behalf.
You can see this insistence with winning throughout many of Roger's interviews. But what was his method of achieving victory? For Roger, it mainly came down to two things: skills and IQ. Both in his training style and in his philosophy, Roger constantly emphasized the importance of skill.
Skill wins fucking fights. That had nothing to do with it. And Floyd's the most skilled motherfucker in the sport of boxing.
To him, boxing was simple. The key was learning boxing itself. Learning how to perform the movements and techniques correctly so you could simply become a better boxer than your opponent.
Boxing is how you learn. The whole key is how you learn. How to catch punches, how to block them, how to roll for punches, how to slip punches. That's the key about boxing.
Later on, we'll see exactly what unique skills he taught that were perfectly adapted to the professional game. The second key to victory for Roger was IQ. A boxer had to understand what was needed during a fight. That meant combining the ability to read and analyze the fight with the actual tools and skills necessary to execute the strategy. As a matter of fact, Roger constantly described boxing as a thinking man's game.
Boxing is a thinking man's game. Thinkers are great fighters. Thinkers are great fighters.
To him, boxing wasn't about attributes like power or speed, as much as it was about skill and intelligence.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about what you know.
Skills were the main focus of his training. So much so that he barely focused on conditioning or motivation. Roger believed that discipline and conditioning were the boxer's own responsibility.
You gotta be willing to work anyway. And you ain't got to tell me to work. If you wanna be as good, I don't have to tell my nephew to work. I ain't got to tell my nephew he's gonna do that anyway.
But now, let's get into his actual training style. The Roger Mayweather style. As we mentioned, Roger's style was built around skills and IQ. It was a system completely adapted to professional boxing, with several key fundamentals: long-range jab, slickness, controls and manoeuvres, counterpunching, dynamic padwork, tricking the mind. Long-range jab. The first key for Roger was having a great jab. The jab allows you to control the fight from the outside and repeatedly touch the opponent. You can constantly see Roger insisting on keeping the fight at long range.
Keep this motherfucker working. As long as you keep this working, the jab working, then that way you keep a motherfucker off your ass.
This mentality was probably influenced by his own experience as a fighter. Also known as the Black Mamba, Roger had an incredibly long reach, and he used it to keep opponents at the end of his punches, especially to set up his devastating right hand. You can clearly see how this philosophy was passed on to Floyd.
The key is to take less punishment. Keep a motherfucker on the outside as much as possible.
Great fighters have great jabs. As Roger explained it, the jab is the key that opens the door for the right hand, making it the most important punch to learn.
This is what opened up the door. And most times a great fighter has, great fighters have this.
The jab and lead hand are also used to constantly occupy the opponent's mind, keeping him thinking and reacting at all times. One great technical detail Roger gives is keeping the heel of the back foot off the ground and timing the jab with the lead foot.
In the beginning, Roger said I could keep my right heel off the ground. That's so I could drive power into my jab and move myself in all the positions that he wants.
This allows you to move and jab effectively from almost any position. Slickness. Roger didn't teach a rigid defensive system, but he placed a massive emphasis on defense, considering it one of the core attributes every boxer must develop. He emphasized defensive awareness at all times, using every available resource to avoid punches, whether through footwork, head movement, blocking or parrying. When fighters first started with him, one of the things he taught was pivoting, learning how to angle out and get away from the opponent. As he said, you have to learn how to walk before learning offense. He also focused heavily on rolling in and rolling out. Sometimes he would run entire workouts without throwing a single punch, focusing only on slipping on the shots and pivoting out to remain defensively sound. Other times, he would work exclusively on defense during mitt sessions, especially defending the jab. Roger would simulate sparring on the pads, constantly throwing jabs to the head and body, forcing fighters to adapt in real time. When it comes to pivoting specifically, Roger taught both the traditional pivot and the variation much more adapted to professional boxing. Controls and maneuvers. As a former professional boxer himself, Roger understood the rougher tactics and small intricacies that are most effective in the pro game. He never shied away from teaching those tactics if they gave his fighter an advantage.
Really right away.
Using his elbows and stuff.
Oh man, the best part of boxing. What are you talking about? Using the elbow.
Many of these techniques revolved around controlling and maneuvering the opponent. One example appears in his pivots. Roger taught two variations. The amateur style pivot, a standard pivot with no contact. The pro style pivot, controlling the opponent while pivoting. In the pro style pivot, Roger teaches to pin the opponent's elbow with the hand you are going to pivot to while simultaneously angling out.
Before you turn yourself, turn me, turn right behind me, turn.
By controlling the opponent's arm, you limit his ability to punch comfortably while making your own pivots much safer. He will also teach to control both the elbow and shoulder, giving you even more control over your opponent's balance and positioning. We especially see these techniques used to maneuver opponents off the ropes. Another example of these rougher pro tactics was using the forearm or elbow to push opponents down. We've seen Floyd repeatedly use this technique to frustrate opponents, disrupt their rhythm, drain their energy, and regain control of the fight. You can really see how deeply Roger understood the nuances of professional boxing and how to manipulate positioning in the ring. Counterpunching. Counterpunching was another key aspect of Roger's philosophy because it perfectly embodied the art of hitting without getting hit. He believed that after making an opponent miss, you shouldn't just answer back. You should answer back with more punches than the opponent has thrown.
If a guy threw 6 punches at you, you want to throw 8 punches back. If a guy threw 8 punches back, you want to throw 12 punches back.
Roger taught a wide variety of counters, which we'll go through in his Padwork, but the most famous one was the pull counter.
Me and him fighting, I'm going to stay close to him. I'm going to stay close to him. Shoot the jab. Boom, boom, boom. Then we'll pull counter.
As Roger explained it, you bait the opponent into throwing, pull back just outside the shot, and immediately return with the right hand. Dynamic Padwork. Now we arrive at Roger and Floyd's most famous drill, their dynamic Padwork. While many trainers approach Padwork in a more realistic way, focusing on power, speed, and weight transfer, Roger's objective was different. His goal was maximum technical output, both offensively and defensively. We're going to break it down step by step, so you can finally understand how they were able to train non-stop without resetting, barely talking, and sometimes not even fully looking at each other, yet still making it all look effortless. Well, take a break if you need it. Come back with a white sheet of paper and a pencil, and let's break it down. The way this dynamic system works is by having a series of sequences and different cues to start those sequences. The cues are often called out or indicated by Roger. That way, either by hearing or seeing Roger's posture, he knows the cue, and therefore the sequence that follows. And in between each sequence, he will call out the next one, or indicate it with body language. This way, every sequence connects with the next one, not needing to reset. Keep in mind that they have drilled these sequences so many times that when Roger indicates the cue, Floyd automatically knows how to follow. Okay, now we understand the logic behind these endless combos, but how each sequence connects so easily with the next one. It will be easier to understand by looking at each sequence and their cues individually. This can sometimes vary, but Roger usually uses the same sequences in his pad work. When blocking to the head and the lead side, the sequence follows 2, 3, 2. When blocking on the rear side, the sequence follows 3, 2. When blocking on the lead side to the body, the sequence follows 5, 3, 2. When blocking on the rear side, the sequence follows 6, 2, 3, 2. When he throws 2 times to the body, lead and rear side, the sequence follows 6, 5, 3, 2. If you have been paying attention, you may have already figured out a bit of the system in these sequences. But let's break down a few more to get familiar with them. When defending the right hand with the shoulder roll, the sequence follows 2, 3, 2. When defending the jab with a pullback, the sequence follows 2, 3, 2. Now, when defending the hook by rolling to the rear side, the sequence follows 2, 3, 2. However, when rolling to the lead side, the sequence follows 3, 2. Now when you look at all these sequences, what can you see? The first thing you will notice is there is a consistency with the 2 and the 3 in all sequences. The other thing is that when your lead side is loaded, the sequence usually follows with the 3, 2. And when your rear side is loaded, the sequence usually follows with a 2, 3, 2. Lastly, you will also see all sequences end up in a 2, which makes it easier to connect with the next cue, as we will see shortly. Now, not all sequences come from counters. Some are just long combinations of punches, which have their own purpose, which often is to reset whenever there is a mistake or confusion between the pad holder and the boxer. The one Roger and Floyd tend to use is a 5, 3, 2, 6, 4, 3, 2, and another is the double 3, 2. So there you have it. These are the main cues and sequences you will see in their pad work. There are more, but not to make it too long, just keep these in mind. The entire drill works by chaining one sequence into another through verbal or visual cues, creating an endless flow. To fully understand it, let's walk through an example together. The first cue is a roll, followed by a 3-2. Then Roger throws a hook, cueing the 2-3-2. But before Floyd finishes, Roger signals another cue, changing it back to a 3-2. Then another hook, back to 2-3-2. Roger then postures toward Floyd's shoulder, signalling the shoulder roll and another 2-3-2. Then he leaves the pad up for the 3, cueing Floyd to double the hook before finishing with the 2. Next, Roger postures toward the body. Floyd blocks twice, instantly recognizing the cue for the 6-5-3-2. Roger repeats the same cue twice again. Then he signals the double 3-2 again before transitioning into the longer combination 6-4-3-2. At one point, there's even a slight mix-up, so they briefly reset before continuing again with the double 3-2 and so on. That's how the Padwork works at full speed. Now, this is extremely difficult if you've never done it before. First, you have to internalize the sequences and learn the mechanics correctly. Then you have to learn how to connect the sequences fluidly. And after that, you need the reaction speed and awareness to keep everything flowing without pauses. That's why we prepared an introduction workout on the Skillr training app, based on the Padwork mechanics Roger uses. Inside the workout, you'll find the same combinations we covered here, allowing you to drill the mechanics correctly step by step. Once you internalize the sequences, we progressively connect them into longer and longer combinations. You can practice them with a partner like Roger and Floyd, or by yourself through shadow boxing or heavy bag work. This introductory workout is the best way to progressively build towards those superhuman looking combinations, even if you're not advanced yet. Every week, we post new workouts so you can practice the theory from these videos, just like in this one. Alongside the weekly workouts, you'll also find technique drills, boxer specific workouts, heavy bag combinations, and more. Outthink and outbox with the Skillr training app. Tricking the mind. Since Roger viewed boxing as a thinking man's sport, one of his key principles was outthinking the opponent by what he called as tricking the mind. One of the ways he taught this was through conditioning the opponent's mind. He emphasized making opponents expect one punch before surprising them with another.
Jab to the body, boom. The hook, he never seen it. He never seen it because he's waiting on the jab. He's waiting on the jab. But the jab never came.
Всегда находит оптимальный.
But Roger didn't only believe in mind games inside the ring, he believed in them outside the ring too. Roger was naturally a trash talker, just like Floyd, and he always encouraged a confident and unapologetic attitude toward boxing.
Talk that shit, bag it up.
That mentality gave us some of the greatest coach rivalries ever, especially between Roger and Freddie Roach. Former sparring partners Roger and Roach genuinely disliked each other. And what made the rivalry so interesting was that they represented completely different training philosophies. In our next episode, we're going to break down exactly why their approaches were so different and analyse the details that made Freddie Roach the coach with the most Trainer of the Year awards, winning the awards 7 times. If you want to follow the full Skillr Coaches series, you can find the playlist here with all the episodes. And if you don't want to miss future episodes, you can subscribe and turn on notifications.